What is going on, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa. Because today we have a long show, but we have a good one. We're going to be covering a lot of topics. Biden's recruiting Republicans. There's a new bailout bill. Of course, it's absolutely gutter trash. Candace Owens made some ridiculous comments. I mean, the list really does go on. But before we get started, since it's been so long since we've had a longer live stream show, we are going to do some shout outs. So when you get here, let me know and we will go ahead and give you a shout out. So in the meantime, make sure you like this post once you get here. Make sure you share this video once you get here. We're going to have a good time tonight. We're going to get started in about 5 minutes. Good afternoon, Karen. How are you doing? Deadhead 83 from Anchorage, Alaska. Good God Almighty. That is far from where I'm at and a lot colder. Appreciate you tuning in. Did you make sure to uncheck the other one? I said uncheck on the other output monitor. Oh, yeah. Who else we got in here? We got Tony watches closely. What's going on, Tony? Always good to see you. JB. He said, greetings from Socialist Montreal. What's going on? Who else we got today? Not really. It's actually warm out today, like 55 degrees. Oh, no. I don't think we have the same understanding of what constitutes as being warm, my friend. 55 degrees is cold as hell to me. So Bethlehem, how are you doing? Hopes the family is doing well. JB always astounds me how much of a difference it is here than a mere 90 miles to the south. I received 4K from our government so far. You vary. Oh, you've already. I'm assuming that's what the autocorrect is. If you have an iPhone, you know, that's how I know. For some reason, already always autocorrects to vary. Ruben Massagua, how you doing, man? How you doing? T-shirt and shorts weather. Y'all wilding up there in Alaska. That's T-shirts and shorts. Look, if I just want y'all to know, I live in Miami, so if it drops below 70, I got a jacket on. I'm mad at the world, honestly. Nothing is getting done that day. I just wallow in sadness. Jaden, what's going on? From Detroit? D-Town? Ellie J. What's going on? We have about 30 more seconds. If y'all could like this video and share this video before we get started, I would greatly appreciate it. Y'all know y'all gotta like and share the video because Jimmy's gonna be going live soon. And if you don't share it now, then nobody's gonna see it because Jimmy's gonna be sucking up all the air out of the room. You don't have to worry about doing the intro, by the way. Don't worry about the intro. By the way, I appreciate everybody's patience. I know we've been having some syncing issues with the sound. We're not quite sure exactly what the issue was, but I did a couple of major adjustments, and hopefully there won't be any syncing issues. I can't speak for what YouTube itself will do. I've seen a lot of people have been having trouble streaming to YouTube in general, whether it's syncing issues, whether it's buffering issues, but I try to do whatever I can do on my end. Hopefully this week will be a lot smoother than last week was. Give me a second, my friends. I'm just sharing this. Yes. All right. All right. I'm so excited. I found out oh, well, congratulations for finding out you're eligible for pandemic unemployment. I hope you don't live in Florida, because you might not ever see the paycheck. But I'm glad that things are looking up for you. All right. So before we even get started, make sure you like this video. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you share this video. All right. Appreciate you guys. All right. So what's going on, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Of course, as always, I am your humble host, Niko House. We have a jam-packed show this afternoon, so make sure you stick around, follow along with us. And I just, of course, want to give a shout out to Rockfin. If you have not yet, make sure you follow us on Rockfin, ROKFIN.com/Niko, Niko. The link is in the description below. Tomorrow is Wednesday, so Thursday, the day after tomorrow, we have our Rockfin exclusive premium stream. However, if you cannot afford the $9.99 a month premium endorsement, that's fine. We have a lot of other Rockfin Rockfin exclusive content that you can access for free on Thursday as well. So make sure you go subscribe to us there. Subscribe to the Convo Couch. They have a Rockfin premium exclusive stream tomorrow as well, along with some other exclusive content for Rockfin. Today, we're going to be talking about Biden recruiting Republicans. I know you can't tell if I'm talking about 1993 or 2020. Basically the same thing when it comes to Joe Biden, let's be honest. We're also going to talk about this new bailout bill. We're also going to talk about this COVID-19 vaccine that Fauci just announced. And Candace Owens with her nonsensical tweet, along with Our Revolution LA making a massive step in the right direction. So first, let's talk about this Biden secret Republican group that's apparently forming behind the scenes that Biden is just so proud of. So this is reported in MSN. It says Biden campaign is secretly building a Republican group. Appearing in an Instagram live chat with soccer star Megan Rapinoe on April 30th, presumptive nominee Joe Biden made a spontaneous vague statement about how he's been speaking to a lot of Republicans, including former colleagues, who are calling and saying, Joe, if you win, quote unquote, we're going to help. Now listen, people, once again, these vague statements about Republicans helping Joe Biden, coming from Joe Biden himself, seems to be the standard set by Joe Biden himself. I don't know why this is that much of a surprise, but the reason we're reporting on it is to acknowledge the pure hypocrisy and the lunacy, truly believing that somehow Joe Biden's administration will just be diametrically different than either Donald Trump or Barack Obama's administrations. The article goes on to say that then he showed his hand. He said, matter of fact, there's some major Republicans who are already forming Republicans for Biden. the former vice president said that there are some major office holders, quote unquote, forming this group. The comment hardly received any attention at the time, but in declaring it, Biden ended up tipping off the earliest stages of a brewing effort that's starting to get underway in certain Republican circles behind the scenes. It is literally just forming. One former top Republican Party official involved with the preliminary discussion told the Daily Beast, "I've had several conversations with people who have approached me. It's going to take off. It's going to happen. The question is to what degree and form it does." The source who was granted anonymity to speak candidly about the private discussion said. They go on to say, "You don't want something like this out on the street before it needs to be," the GOP source said. "It's just much harder to do." Y'all, I got a question for you. Now, when we have these discussions about why I or you should be bullied into voting for Biden, to hell with him being an alleged rapist multiple times over, to hell with him being a sex pest, to hell with him being a, once again, literal segregationist, to hell with the 94 crime bill, right? To hell with the fact that he fought to keep cancer drugs so expensive overseas, using his vice presidential position to do so, right after his son passes away from cancer. It's a special type of heartless, ladies and gentlemen. To hell with all that, right? Because Joe Biden is two things: not Trump and a Democrat. And therefore, we're supposed to just ignore all of the facts in our peripherals, right? What am I supposed to do with this? So whenever Joyanne Reed or Rachel Maddow gets on there and they call people like Tulsi Gabbard a closet Republican, they call people like even Andrew Yang, who's basically been an exemplary, loyal Democrat, unfortunately. They even call him a closet Republican. We have Joe Biden right here, literally bragging about a secret Republican group forming for him, made of top Republican officials. Do you know what that really means? Now, you understand at this point that the Democrats and Republicans, they don't get along on anything else, but the two things they do, or three things they get along with, about taking big money out of politics, or taking big money while they're in politics. We want to take big money out of politics, but they want to take big money. They are at the behest of the military-industrial complex. And the number one thing that Democrats and Republicans both agree on is screwing you and I. That's the number one thing above all else. In fact, I'm pretty sure they take pleasure in it at this point, given that they basically slap us in the face with the names of these new pieces of legislation that get introduced. The CARES Act. Did you feel like the government cared about you after that legislation was passed? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure you did feel like that. I felt like they don't care. Maybe that's what they called the CARES Act. But saying the Don't CARES Act, it's hard to come up with an acronym for the Don't CARES Act. It's a lot of extra words. So, they clearly only agree on those three things. But they also agree on something else that people don't want to talk about, given who the person is. But they also agree on something else. They don't want Trump in office. Now, they don't want Bernie Sanders in office either. They don't want Tulsi Gabbard in office either. They don't want people like Mary Williams in office. They don't want Shahid Buttar to be, Nancy Pelosi and all that. But my point is, they don't want somebody who is not predictable. In other words, if we pay you to do something, we expect for it to be done so we don't get chastised by our big donors. And Trump is simply too much of a wild card. You have to understand, it makes sense that these top Republican officials will be advocating for Joe Biden over Donald Trump. Donald Trump actually said that he wants Medicare for all, that he would sign that legislation. He threatened the Republicans with it once before. And then he talked about getting people treatment for free. And he said this frequently. talked about getting people testing for free. What did Joe Biden want instead? Insurance companies. We need to have access so people can buy insurance from insurance companies. Just reopen that marketplace so people can buy insurance with that money they don't have, with, that they've earned from the job they no longer go to. See, Trump is too much of a wild card. Ideally, I guarantee the MIC would have preferred for us to stay in Afghanistan. Trump was a wild card there. Ideally, they wouldn't have liked for Trump, I'm sure, to assassinate Soleimani, because it upset the balance in the region. We have a very delicate balance of destruction in the Middle East. You can't just go assassinate people all willy-nilly, because it just throws a wrench in the plans. We're not allowed to move. We're not allowed to move in Iraq how we've been able to move around Iraq in the past because of that. So they don't like Trump. If Bernie Sanders or Tulsi Gabbard or another outsider was in office who was also just as unpredictable, probably, honestly, Bernie Sanders might be more predictable than Trump at this point. But say if they had Tulsi Gabbard in office, she's too unpredictable. Like, they don't like unpredictable people. And also, if you're a Republican, and if you're one of those Tea Party-esque type of Republicans, right? The ones that use vague dog whistles, right? It's okay to be racist as long as you're racist behind closed doors and you're using dog whistles to do so. You're just passing racist piece of legislation. All they care about is the civility aspect. They don't really care about the actual racism. Whereas somebody like me, I don't really care how civil you are. If you're going to pass racist legislation and racist policies and reinforce institutionalized racism, then I don't care how nice you are to me. In fact, it's even worse. Don't smile in my damn face and then pass racist legislation behind closed doors. But the GOP has not been able to pass the institutionally racist legislation that they've been able to pass in the past. They haven't been able to get away with as much because, for better or for worse, Trump telegraphs all of their policies. Every single Central and South American policy. Think about it. Under Trump, there has been multiple coup attempts of Venezuela. Out in the open, by the way. Just, hey, we're going to try to invade again. I don't know how it's going to work out, but we try to let Juan Guaido do it himself. We tried to cut them off via sanctions. We tried to send a mercenary group. Still can't get it done. Why? Because Trump can't shut the hell up and stop telling everybody before he does something. By the way, I'm perfectly fine with that. Keep telling everybody so we can do something about it, so that leaders like Maduro can prepare for your nonsense. But this just overall shows you the Democrats are not as concerned with getting Republicans out of power as they would like to lead you to believe. Otherwise, the moment that this was discussed, ladies and gentlemen, oh my God, all hell would have broke loose on blue check neoliberal Twitter. All hell would have broke loose on all these little talking head shows. How does the View not? Can you imagine if an article came out talking about, or if Bernie, while Bernie himself bragged about it, we have some secret top Republican officials, some top GOP officials forming a group for me right now if I win. They said they want to work together. Notice, see, it's not like what Tulsi tries to do. Tulsi tries to appeal to the other side while keeping her policies populist. Even Bernie does this with Medicare for all. That's why on his Fox News town hall, the way he described Medicare for all caused almost everybody in the crowd to raise their hand if they, when they were asked, they had a chance to use it, if they would, of course. So they appeal, but there's no policy discussion here. It's just, hey, some Republicans who are probably acting at the behest of their major donors are just forming a group to support Joe Biden. Why? Because it's Joe Biden, not Donald Trump. Because it's Joe Biden, not Bernie Sanders. Because it's Joe Biden, not Tulsi Gabbard. It's Joe Biden, not Andrew Yang. It's Joe Biden, not Marianne Williamson. Joe Biden, not Jesse Ventura. Not Dario from the Green Party is it's not any of them. It's not Jill Stein, and that's why we're okay with Joe Biden. Good old predictability. So now, people, out of curiosity, what am I supposed to do with that information? Now that because what I've been being told, and what you have been being told for the last few months, is that we have to get Joe Biden in because we got to get Republicans out of power. Well, according to this, we know how Joe Biden plays, right? He said, if someone gives me $200,000 and they ask me to come right into my Oval Office, I'm gonna be like, yeah, sure, come on in. Let me hear what you got to say. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what he said, not me. This is him. Do you think these Republicans are getting out and knocking on doors for Joe Biden? No. You think they're starting super PACs to gather a bunch of corporate money to support Joe Biden? Absolutely. Which means the Republicans are acting on behalf of the corporations, their corporate donors, which means that that's no different than what we're seeing right now for the most part. So at that point, why would I sacrifice my integrity just to put Republicans back in power? Because effectively, not only is Joe Biden telling us that's what's about to happen, but he's perfectly fine with it. He welcomes it. Well, Joe, I'm not really a fan of Republicans. Not really all that much of a fan of Democrats either. Unless you're bragging about reaching across the aisle to pass UBI. Unless you're bragging about reaching across the aisle to pass single-payer health care. Unless you are bragging about reaching across the aisle to put an end to the regime change war in Syria, to put an end to the regime change efforts in Venezuela, to put an end to the regime change efforts around the world, then I don't want to hear about how you're working with Republicans to get elected. You're not helping your case. You're just not. It's like I hate that people brag about working with damn John McCain. Fuck with damn John McCain. Fuck, man, John McCain's an asshole. I don't like talking ill of the dead, but he's kind of an asshole, guys. Like, the man bragged about being a genocidal maniac. Now, we're about to move on to the next story. Make sure you share this video. We got some good news, man. It's about time we had some good news to talk about. I feel like we haven't had any good news to discuss in quite some time. Now, for the most part, I feel like everybody from this channel should be more than familiar with Nick Branya. Nick Branya, along with some of his colleagues, started the movement for People's Party. Now, I've said, honestly, it's probably my favorite party because not only after talking to Nick do I have a better understanding of what their goals are, but their goals are very much so in line with what we need to ensure third parties become viable at the federal level in the future. By introducing ballot initiatives, they have pretty solid game plans. They also make sure to look at history to figure out what's prevented third parties from achieving viability. Also, they've been doing something that I would like to see the Green Party do more, which is they've been building bridges. They don't say if you've ever been a Democrat or if you've been a Democrat, or even if you are still a Democrat. They don't say because of that label beside your name, we're not going to talk to you. They don't say this to Republicans either. They don't say this to Libertarians either. They say, do you believe health care is a right? Check. Do you believe climate change is necessary to address now rather than in the future? Check. Environment? Check. Big money out of politics? Check. And address the military industrial complex? Check. As long as you check most of those blocks, Moving Forward People's Party has been willing to work with you. And that's a great quality to have. Now, this adamant this adamant need to kind of coalesce with people and this understanding of why it's necessary to do so has led to something that is pretty massive, if you ask me. This is according to the Moving Forward People Party's Twitter. Breaking: Our Revolution LA votes to join the Movement for a People's Party. We're calling on all fellow Our Revolution chapters and progressive groups to join us in building a new People's Party. They are co-hosting a national call this Thursday. That is massive. That's massive. Now I don't want to get into all the nitty gritty of how our revolution works and all that good stuff, but I'll put it like this. For our revolution's faults, while it was under Nina Turner, our revolution had a lot of damn success. They were more successful than the Justice Democrats. There's a reason for that. Our revolution in LA has even had its issues. However, now that they fall under the Move for People's Party, you're probably going to see more independence in that circle than you had seen before. All of a sudden, the biggest quote unquote pro Bernie progressive organization in California is now going to be using their efforts to get the most populist progressive elected rather than the most populist progressive Democrat elected. So now you don't have to choose whether or not you're fighting for the one who you think is more viable or the one who is the best candidate. Now you're fighting for the best candidate, and you are restructuring the system using the apparatus and the momentum that the Moving for People Party has started to make sure that these strong, principled candidates actually begin to become viable and hopefully begin to win elections. Now, all of a sudden, our revolution isn't as only focused on candidates themselves, but they can be unapologetic in addressing election integrity. That's a big part of Moving for People's Party's platform. They don't have to ignore it because that's what Bernie does, if I'm being honest. They don't have to ignore it because that's what the Democrats do, because the Democrats have always historically ignored election integrity issues unless it's coming from the side of Republicans. Now they understand that if they want third-party candidates to become successful, if they want MPP candidates, Moving Forward People Party candidates, to become successful, they have no choice but to address the election integrity issues that are running rampant in LA County, in California, and in general. Now, I can't remember, but I feel like our revolution is one of the top 3 chapters as far as membership and activity is concerned in the country for our revolution. And so them calling on the other our revolutions across the country to join in is massive. I don't know how many chapters will join. I really don't. I know our revolution itself is probably going to go under some type of neoliberal overhaul, similar to what the Justice Democrats have done. But the chapters themselves have free reign to do what they want to do. And if enough chapters end up under the Moving Forward People Party, then the Our Revolution National Chapter will have to kind of see the writing on the wall. This is clearly a trend in the right direction, because it's a trend away from partisan politics. It's a trend away from hero worshiping, right? It's a trend away from deifying. It's a trend towards movement-based policies or policy-based movements rather than personality politics, which is what we've seen generally from a lot of these major organizations who claim they want to see things like single-payer healthcare, who claim they want to see things like end to the regime change wars, that they want to see the environment taken care of, that they want to see federal jobs guarantee and UBI, but they won't pass the policies and have the conversations that you need to ensure that we have the candidates in power to make these changes, and to make sure that those candidates in power have their voices heard. Because what happens is when you fall for personality politics, the voices who are doing good work oftentimes fall to the wayside because they're not getting the coverage that they deserve. They're just not. We're seeing people fight for or talk about UBI, or at least the media, right? Talk about UBI now. Congress people talking about UBI now. But if we would have if we would have been talking about Tulsi's UBI on March 12th, then a lot more people will be just positioning that with what happened with the first bailout. Like, hold up. So y'all had legislation right here to make sure we got paid first, and you actually purposely ignored it and then elevated these other nonsensical pieces of legislation instead. So we lost. When you lose control of the conversation, you lose control of the narrative. When you lose control of the narrative, you lose the policy battle every single time. That's how the United States works. That's why I bring up what people did, and when, not only what they did, what they introduced, but when they did it and how they did it. That's those other factors are just as important, because context matters. And when you have our revolution seeing work like this in the future, at least the LA County version, hopefully they're going to be like, wow, now we can talk about the Securing America's Elections Act, because election integrity is an issue. Now we can talk about the All Fossil Fuels Act. Now we can actually endorse reparations instead of ignoring reparations because Bernie ignored it. Maybe now we can endorse UBI instead of ignoring UBI because Bernie didn't support it at the time. You get what I'm saying? It just allows them to have much more free reign, and it's great overall for the conversation. Happy to have them on board. It's awesome. Bernard Chesley, thank you very much for the super chat. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. We are about to move on to the next topic. Appreciate y'all for sticking around. Make sure that if you're tuning in right now, wherever you're at, make sure you share this video. Make sure you like this video. Matter of fact, before we move on to the next topic, I'm going to share it again. Just as a public service announcement, I'm still not voting for Joe Biden, just so everybody knows. I don't know if y'all knew that. I'm not sure if you all knew that, but. All right. So for our next topic, I don't know if y'all just heard this breaking news, but there's a new bailout bill coming out, introduced by House Democrats. And, yep, just as you may have guessed, it is gutter trash, just like the last few. I mean, I wish I could have come with some more exciting news, but let's check out what this new bill entails. All right. I don't want to be too harsh. I'm going to let you all judge. Now, this is reported by ABC News just earlier today at 3:31 p.m. This House Democrats unveiled new $3 trillion. Oh my God. Oh my God. Every time I see that T when I'm reading shit about the coronavirus bailout bills, I'm always thinking it's just because I don't have my glasses on. I'm not seeing correctly, because I know I don't see a $3 trillion relief bill when we still can't get UBI passed. And now Republicans are talking about now we're concerned about the deficit. Boy, y'all weren't concerned about the deficit when y'all was giving the corporations $4 trillion damn dollars, but now you're concerned about the deficit. You concerned about the deficit. Isn't that cute? Whew, $3 trillion. $3 trillion, bro. But we can't afford Medicare for all, though. That's what they tell me, man. That's what they tell me. They said, yes, we can afford $8 trillion or $7 trillion to corporations who don't need the money to survive, by the way. But hey, UBI, it's too expensive. Single payer healthcare? No, that's too much. It's too much, people. All right, let's check what this article is talking about. House Democrats on Tuesday unveiled a massive $3 trillion coronavirus relief package, which includes another round of direct payments to Americans designed to ease the pandemic efforts on the healthcare system and the economy. The Democratic leaders announced the House will vote on the gargantuan measure this Friday, leaving members with less than 3 days to pour over a 2,000-page bill. Y'all, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I need y'all to look at me real quick. I'm gonna tell y'all a little secret. I ain't never read a book over 300 pages. I don't never finish it. I'm like, I get the gist of it by now. Okay? Also, if I did want to read a book over 300 pages, I'm a very talented young man. I wouldn't be able to do it in 3 days. I got a real life to think about. Just like some of these politicians have legislation to think about. Other legislation dealing with the coronavirus. Ladies and gentlemen, In what world would I trust a bill that the House Democrats try to get through in 3 days that is over 2,000 pages? 2,000 pages. The last one was 800 pages and they tried to pass that in hours. So I guess maybe we should be a little thankful. I guess. But like, damn. There's no good. There can't possibly be good intentions about surrounding a 2,000 page bill that Nancy Pelosi wants to get passed. I mean, shit. If Nancy Pelosi wants to pass it, it really, bro. How do you go from 4 million was only 800 pages, but now you've taken away $1 trillion, and it's 2,000 pages? Come on, bro. Come on, bruh. I guess we're just supposed to go back to sleep. I don't know. Let's see what else I got to say about this. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi defended the cost on Capitol Hill. Y'all, this is the same Nancy Pelosi who talking about open up the marketplace so people can get Obamacare. Defending the cost of $3 trillion after she told us we can't afford to just give people free treatment and free testing. We can't afford to give people Medicare for all. We can't afford to give people UBI, even right now. But let me justify giving $3 trillion in which the majority goes to corporations. Let's hear that bullshit justification, please. The chairman of the Federal Reserve Banks has told us to think big. Oh my sweet baby. You hear that again, ladies and gentlemen? You heard that, right? The chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank said, think big because interest rates are so low, Pelosi said. And when Nancy Pelosi was told to think big, she didn't think, man, this is the opportunity for me to actually get something for my constituents, because now I'm even given the green light because the chairman of the Federal Reserve even said, think big, the interest rates are low. And so if there was ever a time to ensure that there are direct cash payments, reoccurring cash payments going to those who need it the most, this is the time. But when she heard think big, she thought, let me go ahead and give corporations some more money. Stock market is doing fine, by the way, if you haven't heard. Record number bounce back. We're still poor. Unemployment rate is ridiculously high. And by the way, in this current climate, you are lucky if you are unemployed. Like the unemployment rate, like if you could file for unemployment to even be registered in the unemployment rate. Why? Because the people who did not have a job, if they were in between jobs before this moment happened, they're screwed. If you were a stay-at-home parent prior to this, you're screwed. If you are having to take off work because now you have to be a full-time homeschool parent because of this pandemic and the quarantine, you're screwed. Because you still got to work, but now you just got to take care of your kids too. So you got to take less time. And you're probably not even getting that many hours anyway. Oh, God forbid you're an essential worker and they're just working you at just the right amount of time because they can't use you too much because they're not getting as much business. But they don't want to underuse you. They want to keep you right in that sweet spot. So y'all screwed too. Man. So when she heard think big, this is what she said. She said, we intend to use those low interest rates to bolster the American people. We must think big for the people now, because if we don't, it will cost more in lives and livelihood later. Not acting is the most expensive course. What does that mean? Because basically they have been not acting. And she is correct about one thing. Not acting has absolutely been the most expensive course. You keep acting, no pun intended, she acts like she cares, but they keep acting only in the sense that they want to keep giving corporations money, and the corporations keep burning through this money. But unemployment rate keeps soaring for some reason. I wonder why. Now, the article goes on to say that even if the measure clears the House on Friday, the vote is expected to be highly partisan and straight down party lines. That's interesting. There are roadblocks in the Senate where Republicans have said countless times now that they don't see the imminent need for another emergency relief package. I mean, I would agree in the sense that we don't need an emergency relief packet to be given to corporations. I agree with that. But let's be honest, people. Let's be honest. This is gaslighting. They're going, hey, this is going to be voted on down party lines, y'all. And all of a sudden, all that money that these corporations are giving the Republicans and the Democrats, suddenly that money isn't going to buy votes the way it used to a week ago. Yeah, okay. Good luck with that. Now, the House is also expected to vote on a remote voting resolution Friday, which does not appear to have Republican backing either. Now, according to the summary of the measure, the package would provide nearly... Hold up. First of all, I just want y'all to know, I hope y'all did not think I read 2,000 or pages in 30 minutes. That was not happening. And I'm going to be completely and totally honest with you. It ain't happening when we're done with this live stream either, because no goddamn bill that should simply be a payout, just a simple payout, should be 2,000 pages reasonably. There's no way. So it ain't getting read. We're going to look at the summary, though. The summary is bad enough. So according to the summary of the measure, the package would provide nearly $1 trillion in relief for state, local, and tribal governments. Of that amount, $500 billion would go towards states. That doesn't make any sense. Please explain this to me, people. I don't know what this means. According to the summary, the package would provide nearly $1 trillion in relief for the state and local and tribal governments, but $500 billion will go towards the states out of that $1 trillion. I thought the $1 trillion was going towards states, but whatever. Okay, whatever. Let's read some more nonsense. It will also include a round of direct payments of $1,200 per family member and up to $6,000 per household. So basically the same thing, I believe, that we had last time. The package also extends unemployment benefits, ensuring the weekly $600 federal unemployment payments will continue through January 2021. The current extension is set to expire in July. It also provides $175 billion in new funding to assist renters, homeowners, and their monthly rent and mortgage payments. I have no idea what the hell that's going to look like. So you're giving $175 billion to debtors? Why not just suspend the rent? Also, not that I'm against giving $175 billion to debtors, but if you're going to do that, then suspend our rent so they can't just screw us over, take the money, and be like, okay, so you're still going to owe us some money. Come on, bro. All right. So this bill will also establish a $200 billion Heroes Fund for essential frontline workers, ensuring those workers who risk their lives throughout the pandemic receive hazard pay. How many of y'all actually believe they'll receive hazard pay? I'm genuinely curious to see where that $200 billion is going to go. Also, I'm genuinely curious to figure out why it's only $200 billion. That's what I'm curious. Are you curious as to why the people who have put themselves on the front line for this virus that they said is absolutely deadly to be in front of and around all the time? Why there's only $200 billion in allocation for that? You know how many hospitals there are? Alone, just hospitals full of nurses and doctors and RNAs and RNs and PAs and medical billing assistants, secretaries, janitors. Everybody in every single hospital around the country. You think $200 billion in hazard pay is going to be enough? We ain't talking about grocery stores yet. We're not talking about fast food restaurants. We're not talking about warehouse and distribution yet. We're not talking about gas stations yet. Just hospitals, people. Just hospitals. $200 billion is not even close to enough. Not even close to enough. It's ridiculous. $75 billion will go towards testing, contact tracing, and isolation measures. It also provides $3.6 billion for contingency planning, preparation, and resilience of elections for federal office. That's just a bunch of pork barrel bullshit. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Effectively, whatever plan that you do during the coronavirus would probably cost less money than running a full-scale election. Just saying. That's going to be a bunch of pork barrel bull. Just like that 700 million or something like that. Was it 300 million, 700 million? One of the two in California that was given to bolster election integrity efforts that just, we don't know where the hell that money was spent on because it wasn't for that. So, as you probably could have guessed, people, this legislation is some old baby back bull. I don't know what else to call it. It's not going to do what we need it to. Am I thankful once again for $1,200 a month? Yeah, I kind of knew this was coming because the original plan was to reassess whether or not there would be another cash payment. But the problem is we didn't want to leave it up to a reassessment period because we know how our Congress does. We know that when they say reassess, they mean we're going to pay this out so you shut the hell up. And then when it's time to reassess, we're going to hold out just long enough until you quote unquote don't need it anymore, or until another conversation begins to dominate the discourse and UBI or cash payments of any kind will be pushed to the wayside. That's what they're doing. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. All right. So I guess there's some good to come out, right? The fact that there's more money being allocated towards testing, that's good. Don't have a problem with that. The fact that we have some hazard pay going out, that's good. Not even close to being good enough, but it's decent, right? So there's a silver lining, I guess. Making sure that unemployment rates stay as high as they do through 2021, because unemployment will affect a lot of people through 2021. So that's good. But overall, once again, this bill, you notice how even in this summary, people, I said $3 trillion. I said $3 trillion, right? And this is what ABC tries to pull over our head. This is what the summary says. 600 billion. Okay. 175 billion. Okay. 200 billion. Okay. 3.6 billion. Okay. Just doing some quick math wizardry. Counting in my head. Yeah, no, I gotta count my fingers. I'm not good at counting in my head. Real quick, just to make sure y'all can check me on this one. That don't add up to 3 trillion. They don't add up 3 trillion. So where the other 2 trillion going? Where's the rest of the money going? And why is ABC News pretend? And mind you, think about this, y'all. And everybody needs to remember today. Everybody, damn that. Like, share this video if you're watching right now, because this is extremely important to remember. I want everybody to remember this moment. And when you see it on Twitter, tag me, because we're going to debunk it right then and there. If you see it on Facebook, tag me. We're going to debunk it right then and there. If you see it on YouTube, show me. Send DM, because this is what we about to talk about. All this time, y'all, the Democrats, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, they've all been pretending that it's been the Republicans dying to give these corporate bailouts. That's what they've been pretending, right? AOC gave that grandstanding speech. I'm tired of this. I'm tired. Oh my God, Republicans. You Republicans are the ones who are causing these problems. It's you Republicans. AOC, we're waiting on that speech. We're waiting on that speech. We're waiting on that speech. Oh yeah, Bernie Sanders, we're waiting on that speech. We're waiting to hear how you fought the Democratic menace. We're waiting to hear how you fought the corporatocracy. And you don't get to scapegoat Republicans this time. That's for damn sure. You don't get to pretend like it was somebody else who introduced this corporate bailout. Not anymore. You shouldn't have been able to do it last time. But now, this is on wax, ladies and gentlemen. This is on paper. The only reason ABC News isn't talking about the actual corporate side of the bailout is because it was done by Democrats, very clearly done by Democrats this time. It was done by Democrats the first time too, but they've been able to scapegoat and scapegoat and scapegoat. Yeah, here we are. What's good? So y'all make sure y'all look at, keep a lookout for me. I genuinely want to see what AOC has to say about this on Friday when they vote. I genuinely want to see where the objection is going to be. Let's see if she grandstands. Once again, it's about context. If she grandstanded and spoke out against this one, or didn't grandstand and speak out against this upcoming one, then I wouldn't really care all that much. I would care from the perspective of an activist, but I'm saying as far as it pertains to AOC, I wouldn't care all that much, because that she wouldn't have established a pattern of grandstanding at these very moments when she could blame Republicans. So whenever you have the chance to call out Nancy Pelosi, I hope you keep that same energy, AOC. I hope you keep that same energy, Ilhan Omar. Keep that same energy, Bernie. Keep that same energy, Ro. Rashida. No, actually, Rashida hasn't said anything positive about Nancy Pelosi at all. But I'm just saying, keep that same damn energy. All right. Next topic of discussion. Got some COVID news. I guess everything is COVID news nowadays, huh? So, a lot of people have been wondering what the next steps to this situation will be. What constitutes the quote unquote right time to reopen the economy? When will this quarantine end? Will we ever get a vaccine? Will there be some other type of treatment? If we do get a vaccine, when will it come? Also, who's responsible for creating it? Who's behind it? Where's the money coming from? And I think that the most important question and pertinent question is this. Is there anyone in the government currently behaving responsibly regarding this pandemic without any self-agenda or self-motivations? And can we believe anything coming out of almost any government official's mouth at the moment? The answer to both of those questions honestly seems like hell no, to be honest with you. I don't trust Fauci. I don't trust Bill Gates when it comes to... I feel like I shouldn't have to explain that I don't trust Bill Gates to talk about or handle in any way whatsoever a pandemic. I didn't ask him to come over and fix my damn motherboard. I didn't ask him to come over and help me install some new Windows software on my computer. That's not what we're talking about right now. I didn't ask him to design a new phone. Didn't ask him to design a new gaming system. We're talking about COVID. We're talking about a pandemic. We're talking about a virus. I feel like I shouldn't have to say that I don't want to hear Bill Gates' mouth when it comes to anything when it comes to a pandemic. But yet, here we are. So, in that same light, there's been some troubling news to come out. Of course, it came out of Dr. Fauci's mouth. And I feel like this is extremely important to cover for a plethora of reasons. And we're going to talk about them. But first, let's check out this new bill, or this new statement, from Dr. Fauci. According to Dr. Fauci, as reported by MSN 5 hours ago, 8 COVID-19 vaccines being worked on and could be available by late fall. Fauci says during a testimony, at least 8 candidates for the coronavirus vaccine are in clinical development stage, and some could be ready as early as late fall. Anthony Fauci said, the United States top infectious disease expert has told senators. The National Institute of Health has been collaborating with a number of pharmaceutical companies in various stages of development, Mr. Fauci said, and in a testimony on Tuesday, which is today. In pictures, coronavirus in the UK. Oh, excuse me, they just took a picture of some slides. Anyway, moving on. The White House infectious disease guru. Listen to how they kiss this man's ass. How, bro? Anyway, the White House infectious disease guru also suggested that his previous projection that it would take at least a year to 18 months before the vaccine was ready does not appear to be accurate. Let's hear this excuse. The NIH trial moved very quickly. Okay, so you want to inject something in everybody, sell it on the market, probably make it mandatory in some instances. I know in the military it's going to end up being mandatory. And so you're explaining the reasoning from your prediction going from 18 months, which, by the way, in my opinion, still not reasonable, but maybe a little more reasonable. But your reasoning for going from 18 months before a vaccine is ready to just several months is trials moved quicker. No, that's not how trials work. The trials should be set for one period of time and they extend or end at another period of time, because what your trials are supposed to include, or what your observations are supposed to include, are side effects. Ladies and gentlemen, let me be clear about something. I don't know how to explain this in layman's terms. I feel like I do a pretty damn good job of it, but people still don't get this. I'm not taking any medication that was created in a few months. Once again, this is something I feel like I shouldn't have to explain to people. And yet, here we are, me having to explain to people that several months cannot possibly be long enough to concoct the vaccine and then test the vaccine over and 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 over again, which is what should be being done. And then to subsequently see what the side effects of the vaccine may or may not be. I feel, once again, like this is a very common sense statement. I really don't give a damn what the damn vaccine is or what the drug is, what the pharmaceutical. I don't care what it is. I'm not taking shit that only took a few months to think about that, people. How long it take for you to get your degree? Years. It took so you could be tested and then retested and then retested and then tested again while you're learning, so they can make sure there is no doubt in their mind that you earn this degree and you have absolutely specialized to a proficient degree to earn that piece of paper, right? You specialized. You've tested and tested and been tested again. I feel like the same logic is true for vaccines. How in the hell, any medication, how can I know what the side effects will be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years from now? Not even. How can I know how the hell can I know what the side effects will be a year from now? If I have literally just discovered the vaccine. And now you're saying it's going to be ready by late fall. Ladies and gentlemen, it is May. May to June, June to July, July to August. So you got what? 4 or 5 months? Maybe at late fall, 6 or 7 months. 6 or 7 months for you to pass some concoction out without possibly, that is antithetical to practicing safe science. Absolutely. There's no way you can justify it. There's no way. Call him the guru, call him the expert, call him what you want. You just call me commonsensical. It ain't possible. That's not how a scientific method works. Now, what's scary about this is it's not like if there were significant side effects that they would be reported. And the reason why is because, do you know who's actually in charge of following and tracking the side effects of not only vaccines, but any medication, and figuring out and registering them and reporting them? Do you know who's in charge of that? Do you know? The FDA. In other words, the FDA, who is usually working at the behest of Big Pharma, we all know, is in charge of reporting the side effects that of the drugs that they approve and say are safe after they take money. You know that? So, question. If I asked you, like, there's vaccines right now that have been out for years, right? If I asked you, how many side effects does your average vaccine have according to the FDA that you have ever heard reported? When you go to your pharmacy, when you get the little flu shot, when you took a flu shot or a vaccine when you're at I don't know, in the military, for your job, traveling out the country, et cetera, did they tell you there's gonna be some side effects? I'm not talking about some damn swelling in your arm when you got the shot. I'm not talking about that. What did they say? If you took the flu vaccine, I think the most they might tell you is you're gonna get flu-like symptoms. How many times has the FDA made a big deal to report the side effects of any vaccine? Because if you leave it up to the FDA, we would literally never know what a side effect is when it comes to vaccine. If you leave it up to the FDA, vaccines are absolutely perfect. There have been no side effects in the history of vaccines. So if there was a negative side effect when so many people stand to make so much money based off of the sensationalization and fear mongering that we've seen of this COVID-19 situation, would they report any immediate side effects? Would they take issue approving a vaccine that couldn't possibly show you the side effects of, 6 months from now, a year from now? It couldn't possibly be done. You can't do it. You literally cannot do it based off of just how the fuck time works. But do you think that FDA would report those side effects given all the money? Like, you think the NIH would report all those side effects? I'm just curious. I'm not a doctor, not an MD, I'm not a researcher, I'm not a medical assistant, I'm not a biologist. But I do have common sense. And I can read. And I know what conflict of interests are. And so even if this vaccine gets approved, because of how much money stands to be made from it for people like Bill Clinton, for example, and the pharmaceutical companies who manufacture these drugs and the relationships they have with the FDA, what guarantee do we have that the FDA will do its damn job? It's the same FDA that tells us that marijuana should be a Schedule 1 controlled substance. The same FDA that tells us that kratom is deadly. The same FDA, well, not the FDA, but the NIH that has gotten projections after projection after projection regarding the coronavirus wrong over and over again. Just saying. Thank you very much for the super chat, man. To talk. If you or you know anyone that lives in West Virginia, it appears that you may vote and write in Jesse Ventura. Okay, good to know. I literally know no one in West Virginia, but I'm sure someone does. Thank you for that tidbit of information. I much appreciate it. Rocket6923, thank you very much for the super chat. Are you familiar with any of Dave Cullen's videos on COVID-19? I'm not sure what's the name of one of his videos. I'm not good when it comes to names. I'm horrible. So if you tell me the title of the video, I might recognize something. Red in Economics, thank you very much for the super chat. Damn right, Niko, they want us all to be lab rats for this vaccine. Absolutely. This is exactly what happened in the 90s whenever they sent us over to Bill Clinton when he wanted us to go fight Saddam. When he wanted us to go fight Saddam because Saddam had turned on us and started attacking the oil fields in Kuwait after we had loaded him up with unenriched nuclear uranium, right? So he had weapons tipped with it. The radiation was everywhere. That we were pumping our soldiers up with vaccines because they were coming back with radiation in their testicles. Now, obviously, there was a lot of problems that came with this, and there was a massive lawsuit. And you know what? The soldiers would have won trillions if the documents regarding that case weren't transferred to the OKC building like a day or so before it was bombed. So this isn't the first time they've tried to use humans as guinea pigs when it comes to their vaccines, when there's some quick money to be made. They got all this money to invest in finding a vaccine, but and they claim, by the way, they claim that there's no other options out there. My question is, how have you not been working with Cuba when they've already found a treatment, a natural treatment that also for some reason treats HIV and hepatitis and doesn't require a vaccine? It allows your antibodies to naturally build up and fight the vaccine or fight the virus. Why haven't we been talking to Cuba and China? If we're that concerned about saving lives via medicine, why have we been talking to the countries that have successfully achieved this goal? Because it's not about saving lives. It's just not. It's not about saving lives. It's about money. And if you are naive enough to believe that your government wouldn't experiment on you for the immediate payoff versus the potential cost that they could protect themselves from, you are crazy. You are absolutely, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. You're crazy. There's no way you've been paying attention. It's crazy to me how leftists are just so like casual. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I've had to take vaccines in the military. I don't really I feel strongly about the FDA. So no matter what I'm ingesting, I always am suspect about it. I always exercise skepticism. I always assume that there are side effects. But only in this place I call the left have I heard people literally say, if you even ask, well, why aren't we even addressing the potential side effects of vaccines? And people get attacked for that's ludicrous, bro. That's stupid. How can you possibly, you say, you know that the FDA is corrupt. You know that pharmaceutical companies are corrupt. You understand how money influences politics. You understand that medicine and healthcare is oftentimes tied to politics and big money in politics. And the moment we begin to discuss vaccines, that's crazy. If you ever even discuss why we never discuss side effects, then you're an anti-vaxxer. I'm like, that's weird, because I watch a lot of commercials on television from all these FDA approved drugs where like the side effect may be death. Side effect may be cancer. The side effect is an HIV drug, may be HIV. You don't know. You're just rolling the dice here. But I'm supposed to believe that in the one instance of vaccines, there is zero side effects. That's what I'm supposed to believe. Because what people don't even understand, like maybe you just give people the option. If people feel like there are side effects, then they make that choice. See, that's the difference. Whenever people see these crazy drugs on television, they get to see the side effects. They are having it spelled out for them. And they're making a conscious decision, understanding what those side effects may be, and still choosing to take that particular drug. That's not what we are seeing when it comes to vaccines. And it's for the same reason that we don't trust the pharmaceutical industry or the FDA. You can't say you don't trust the FDA and Big Pharma and then say anyone who questions why we don't potential side effects of vaccines is crazy. They're lunatic. That it's lunacy to not address this. You're literally crazy. You have to put your mind in a box somewhere, like your common sense in a box, and throw it in a damn ocean to not see the clear leap in logic. Big pharma bad, FDA bad, never approved good drugs, always approved bad drugs. Science has literally never gotten it right the first time. But sure, the one instance they got it right, 100% vaccines. Yeah, okay, whatever. They can't even get ibuprofen right. Ibuprofen destroy my stomach if I take too much. If I don't eat without it, it's going to kill my stomach. Thin my blood out. Can't even get ibuprofen right half the time. But I'm supposed to believe they got vaccines right the first time. Zero side effects. Come on, bro. Doesn't make any sense. All right, so I think we have one more topic. I'm parched, y'all. I'm parched. Some good old H2O. So, got one more topic, ladies and gentlemen, and it is regarding Candace Owens. Y'all know who Candace Owens is. She is the former Obama bro who got a boyfriend that went to a country club who told her that she should start making videos about how black people can't think for themselves because of the Democratic Party and they should just all become Republicans. Then she got employed by TP USA, aka Turning Point USA, aka Talking Point USA, aka Toilet Paper USA. That's what I call them, because basically the only thing their rhetoric is good for is to wipe your ass with it, because they're full of shit. That's who Candace Owens worked for. This is the one who tried to justify, she tried to defend Hitler at some point. That was really weird. Yeah, I know. That was weird. It was really uncomfortable. I think that's when they had to let her go. So she made a tweet. This is every time a situation like what we've seen lately with the cop shooting that young black man, Ahmaud Arbery. Every time this happens, Candace Owens and Tommy Loren decide to rear their ignorant little beady eyes and their little rat faces. Okay? She wasn't going to miss this opportunity to be ignorant as hell. And of course she did not. Let's check out the tweet from Candace Owens. Give me a sec. Oh, where did my tweet go? Oops. Hold on, let me see. I gotta get it. Pull it back up. Mine got taken off the page for some reason. Holy crap, where'd it go? Oh, well, my tweet. Let's reopen it up here, no biggie. Give me a sec, y'all. There we go. Oh no. Give me a second. Ugh. It's like my worst nightmare having a Candace Owens tweet as my background. Sorry if anybody got sick after seeing that. My apologies. Anyway, so Candace Owens had this to say, people. Ahmaud Arbery was caught on camera breaking into unfinished property that was owned by Larry English. His mother has confirmed it is him in the video. Please stop with just a jogger BS narrative. Avid joggers don't wear khaki shorts and stop to break into homes. Bro. Okay. So I'm glad that she brought this part up. She says that Arbery was breaking into an unfinished property. Breaking in. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, have you all ever seen a house that you really, really, really like while you're walking around your neighborhood with your wife, your husband, family, friends, jogging, working out, whatever, walking your dog? You're like, man, I'm in the market. I'm looking for a new house. This is a really nice property. Let me check it out. So you go up to it. You scope it out. You look in and out. And hell, a lot of the time, I don't know if y'all notice, but real estate agents will even leave signs out in case you like what you see. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that happens sometimes? I know, it's crazy. I used to be in the real estate industry. This is what happens often. So, it says breaking into an unfinished property. No, it's an unfinished property. And he didn't break into it. There's nobody. He walked into it. Not break into it. Didn't break into shit. He walked into it. Just walked in. Like teenagers do when it comes to unfinished construction sites. Teenagers do that all the time. I've done it. People just do it to be, rebellious. Some people do it because, they're not going to be bothered there. Doing some of the things that teenagers do. Now, one time, have I ever saw someone walk onto a property that was unfinished? House, maybe a big ass condo building. Never one time that I'll see somebody walk into a construction or unfinished construction site and say, man, the moment that man starts running towards me, I gotta kill him. He shouldn't have been in that construction site. Not one time have I ever thought that. I even checked around my friends. I was like, yo, when you see somebody at an unfinished construction site with wearing khakis, or khaki shorts, excuse me, I want to be specific. Wearing khaki shorts, do you ever think, man, I got to kill that guy when he gets out? Do you think that? I got to kill that guy to defend the property when he gets out. Not one time have I ever. Has that ever crossed my mind? If you ask any normal person, they would tell you the same thing. She says, please stop with just a jogger BS narrative. No, excuse me. You're right, Candace. He was not only a jogger, but apparently he was a jogger who was also looking into making some real estate ventures in the future, potentially. I mean, if that's what you mean. But what Candace is not mentioning is the most important factor. He wasn't just a jogger, Candace. You're right. He was jogging while black. Because only in America can you be killed for jogging while black and have literally anyone try and rationalize it or justify it. There is no scenario, no situation where a person is casually jogging. I'm going to put it like this. If a white woman went through that exact same sequence, would they have killed her? The exact same sequence. If a white woman, if Miss Tammy Duckworth was jogging in her nice little high pink sports bra with her leggings and her new little Nikes with her headband, and she decided to stop to look at the house because her and her husband are looking for a new house, and she's like, oh, okay, cool, something is open, let me go and check it out. Oh, I really like this property. Anyway, back to my jog, my heart rate's dropping. Oh no, I'm getting shot. Like, do you think, have you ever heard of a story where Tammy Duckworth gets shot? No, I don't think so. I didn't think so. Tammy Duckworth ain't getting shot. And if Tammy Duckworth got shot, they damn sure aren't trying to justify Tammy Duckworth getting shot. That's what's not happening. What they will do is raise hell, call the neighborhood watch, lynch those white boys from their feet, because you can't kill a white woman in White Peopleville. You can't kill a white woman. That's illegal. I know what you're thinking. Killing black people is illegal too, only sometimes. Killing a white woman is always illegal in America. Ain't no question. Ain't no whether or not you're going to get indicted. Ain't no whether or not that cop is going to have charges pressed against them. You kill a white woman in the suburb, oh, gone. You're arrested. You're getting indicted. That's a fact. The audacity of Candace Owens to even suggest that wearing khaki shorts and scoping out an unfinished property is grounds for an execution is utterly disgusting. It's despicable. And I try my hardest to ignore Candace. But this pandering so you can feel accepted by white conservatives is like it's I feel bad for her sometimes, and then other times I'm like, ugh. Like, you too old to pretend to be this damn stupid. You have too much access to money, too much access to education, too much access to information to be this ignorant. And for you to have talked about, like, one of the things that Candace Owens actually discusses with some semblance of intellect is the criminal justice system. Because only because, by the way, that her family has been affected detrimentally by the corrupt criminal justice system. That's the only reason she even gets that issue right usually. But stuff like this, what are you proving? What are you proving? You talk about how big government and government in general is a problem and people should have liberty and things like that, but you don't ever speak up when someone uses their constitutional rights to effectively remove someone else's rights. In this case, the pursuit of life. That is not the side of the argument that you want to take up fervently and make them defend literally executing a black man for jogging. That's not the side you want to take. You want to take up the ones, coincidentally, it's always the one who killed the black people. Those are the ones you want to defend. The people who are already dead, who can't speak up for themselves, those are the ones you want to attack. You're despicable. You're not on the side of the people. You're on the side of the power structure, the patriarchy, the institutions. You're on the side of big government. Who are you kidding? If you side with the police state, if you side with this patriarchal state, then you are on the side of big government. Who do you think institutionalized racism? Why should I even have to have this conversation with you? If our government was taking this stuff seriously, as they should have in the past, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. This wouldn't even be a debate. But here we are. So, with that being said, thank you all so much for tuning into that live stream segment of Mika Says Casa. I appreciate you all tuning in, and I definitely appreciate all the super chats. Make sure you follow us and subscribe to our Rockfin channel as well, rokfin.com/Niko. Also, make sure you subscribe to the Convo Couch, Robbie Yeager's the Rob Report on Rockfin as well, Taylor Hudak, and others. Got a lot of good shows on Rockfin as well. So if you endorse any of us for premium content, just know you're getting everyone's premium content, not just one channel. All right. Other than that, always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.